Okay, very good morning to all of you. Today we are going to have a webinar on email writing. So in the series of webinars on writing skills, this is the last one that we are going to see. Yes, do drop your enrollment number for the attendance purpose. Now, we'll start today about email writing webinar. I just want to share some of the basics of email writing, and would also like to tell you some of the practicals which I think will help you. So let's look at some of the aspects which makes email very essential part of the job work. All of us know that compared to any say physical mail, email writing is first of all free. It's prompt. The moment you click here, it will reach to the any corner of the world where it is reaching promptly, and it is permanent. If not permanent, then until somebody deletes, it will be there, and that's why it's also useful. You don't have to file it. You don't have to take care. Once you send, it will always be there in your say sent box and in the receiver's inbox. So that way it is permanent. It is a formal platform, and that's why it should be used formally. It is not your WhatsApp. It is not your chat, which can be formal and personal. Informal and personal, but this is formal, and that's why it should be written that way. So these are the characteristics. These are the things that makes email writing very formal, permanent, prompt, and of course free of cost. Then basics of email say writing features, which I'm sure all of you are aware of, but just for the record, we'll take care of these things. I think somebody else wants to join. Nitin. They may not be the part of our say class, but they have been invited and they are welcome, so they can also join. Yes, so that's Nitin, I think. Welcome, Nitin. Now, basics of email writing features. I'm sure all of you are aware that any email will have these two components, that you need to have an email address, and the recipient also needs to have an email address, and then you can exchange to and from. The default things that will come would be date and time, right? Especially for teachers. Let's say I have invited some submissions and I have given the deadline, let's say 12 p.m. tomorrow. So then I need not to check or document anywhere. The moment the assignment I would receive an email, I'll get the date and time automatically. So that will be a blessing for the teachers and for anybody who is receiving say some kind of submissions in a given deadline. So that also would be there. For documentation purpose also, date and time will come by default. So that's there. Subject will not come by default. And I have seen many students, those who share, submit their assignments, and they don't mention the subject because it's optional. Unlike say to and from, it is mandatory for you to have at least one recipient. Only then the mail would go and date and time will come automatically. But subject obviously will not come automatically. You have to add a tagline, a subject line, which the receiver will be able to see even without opening the mail. So you should have a subject, and you should mention the subject in your email while sending your email. So these are the 4 things that you should take care. A few more features that we'll look at it is the tool, say CC and BCC. I think computer engineering students are aware of it, but just to put it on record, a tool is the direct recipient of your mail. CC is the one to whom you are not addressing the mail, but he too will receive a copy, who is kept in the CC, which is carbon copy, to receive it for the reference. For example, as a teacher, I told you, the students, to submit the mail in the given deadline, right? An assignment for, let's say, some internal assessment. I also will suggest you that you keep your head in CC, so that your HOD will also know that how many of the students from this class have submitted to me or not. Or maybe your class coordinator would be kept in the CC. So the class coordinator will also know that how many of the students have submitted or how many of them have not submitted, right? So then person who is in CC is not the direct recipient, but he is kept in the CC for the reference, right? So that's the job of the function CC. BCC is a tricky thing that you should know and should be clear about it, is called blind carbon copy. I'm sure you know this tag, but let's know that, let's say if I'm a sender and I'll write a mail to, let's say, Sahil. So I'll be the sender, Sahil would be in, say 2, and then I'll keep, let's say, Baljit sir in CC, and I'll keep my HOD in BCC, right? So what do you think? Who will be able to see whom? As a sender, I'll be able to see all three of them. I'll be able to see Sahil, who is the direct recipient, who will come in 2. I'll be able to see Baljit sir, whom I have kept in CC. I'll also be able to see my head, Dr. Sunil Sagar, who is in BCC. Now, Dr. Sunil Sagar will also be able to see me as a sender, who is there in the CC and who is there in the recipient. Now, Sahil will be able to see me as a sender, Baljit sir in the CC. Sahil will not be able to see who is there in BCC. Neither Baljit sir will be able to see who's there in BCC. You will be able to see me as a sender, CC and 2 both will be able to see me as a sender, and the other person who is there in 2 as well as in CC. But in BCC, you will remain blind to 2 and CC people, those who are in 2 and CC. Not only that, if I'll keep more than one person in BCC, they will be blind to each other. If I keep my HOD in BCC and will also keep, let's say, HOD of other department, let's say I'll keep Jai sir in BCC. So Jai sir will be able to see Baljit sir, Sahil and me, but Jai sir will not be able to see Sunil sir, who is in BCC. So BCC would be blind to each other. This function is specifically useful for the companies that are sending mass mails, let's say for the advertisement purpose, right? Where you don't want your customers to see that who else has received this mail. So if I'm XYZ company sending mass mails to all, I'll keep all the recipient in BCC. So you'll be able to see me as a sender, but you will not be able to see who else has received the copy. So that's the function of BCC. Within the office, you should use BCC carefully, because if you have received a mail in BCC, you obviously know that you have received it, but there could be somebody else who has received this mail. And that's why it's not very healthy and transparent way of working. So you should use BCC carefully while as a function. Of course, the attachment, all of you know that Gmail offers 25 MB attachment. You can attach a file which is of 25 MB or less, you can attach. If it is more than 25, of course, you have the option of Google Drive. You can upload your video or a bigger file in Google Drive and you can share your drive. So that is an option available of attachment. Very quickly, I'll go through the basic features. I'm sure you know reply and forward. Reply to one and reply to all or many is also an available option. Signature is like subject, right? It's available option, but most people don't use the signature say feature. Signature is you keep your name. You can go to setting, and again there'll be a subsection called setting, and there the option of signature. So you put your signature, your name, your designation, name of a company. Once you do that, it will be there permanently. So that means after, say, assigning the signature in your email, then whenever you send an email, the signature will come automatically. You don't have to type your name, regards, and yours sincerely, or your name and your designation and company and everything. It will come automatically once you feed email signature into your setting. So then it would look something like this once you add the signature, your name and other things. So whenever, for example, I'll write an email, this signature will come by default. I don't have to type with regards and Dr. Mihir Dave and whatever. It will come automatically. Now, for Marwadi University, we have this tag, a format that all the faculty members are following, right? But if you're an individual, you may choose the format and the structure and color and whatever for your signature. But the thumb rule is it should be as sober as possible. It should not be pompous and colorful, and many options are available. But if professionally you want to go, you should use it as the sober ones. So these are some of the basics which I think you should know. Then now what I'm going to do is, this is the formal thing which ideally all of you should know. In case you didn't, to put it on record, we did that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you a mail. right? Have a look at that sample mail and let me know what's your opinion about that sample mail. Let's look at this. This is a sample mail sent by somebody to somebody else. Have a look at it and let me know what's your opinion about this email. So what do you think of this mail? Cool, isn't it? Okay. There are many spelling mistakes. Yes, that's true. And there is WhatsApp language. What's wrong? All of you are using WhatsApp. Informally, say phrased. So language is informal. Yes. So WhatsApp language. Yep. So what makes it a WhatsApp language? The entire thing is WhatsApp language. Certain words, certain examples, if you can give. One problem is incorrect spelling, which is problem. Some word. Which are those words, Janice? Exactly, if you can quote. This is not only incorrect but inappropriate. I thought it's very cool. Students like this way. So. Yeah, appreciate. You don't appreciate the spelling of new spelling of appreciate, Janice? For thanks, you say THXN. What's wrong? It's modern, cool. Yeah, jobs. There is something wrong, isn't it? But all of you use it. So what's wrong? Yep. So the examples you are quoting, but still you understood, right? He actually meant dear sir, though he wrote DER. Okay, this type of language cannot be used in job interview. Fine. And I think we use another informal platforms. Emails are supposed to be formal. Good to know that. Okay, I'll give you one more sample if you can help me. The same revised avatar of the write-up. Now have a look at this and tell me if you are okay with this version of email. So this version is better, all of you are saying? This is good, yes. Okay, so 1.2 got qualified, right? Or 1.1 got qualified, wonderful. So why do you think second version is better? What makes it better? The previous one you told me spelling mistakes, informal say ones, abbreviations. Yeah, language, that's true. But what makes it formal, Janice? Sahil, you said language. Language is good, fine. But what makes it good? In the first mail also language was used, right? Inappropriate, incorrect. You gave me the example. Can you give me the examples from the good or qualified, say, email 1.1 that you think makes that letter formal? If you can give me specific examples that, okay, this is the property of formal, this is the property of formal, which was missing in the first one. Yes. I think some of you would like to have a look at the previous mail, so I'll just put it for a while. Have a look at the rejected version from all of you. And now look at the second version. So first line says how he knows about this post. Okay, that's true. That's called acknowledging the reference with which you are writing a mail, right? Yes. Anything else that you find that makes this second version formal, that looks good, that makes it better than the first one? But he said the same, that he wanted to apply for a job in the first mail also. They're looking for jobs, not one, more than one job. So anywhere it's available, I'm open. I need job, you see, he said in the first mail. That subject line was there in the first mail also, right? Jobs. And very clear subject line. And that was very clear statement made in the first mail. I need jobs, isn't it? Okay, regards was missing in the first one. Okay, in the second, he is clear for the designation. Its designation is not mentioned in the second mail also, Sahil. Look at the mail again. It's not talking about the post. It's talking about the department called customer service. It's not a post, right? If you say customer service executive, then it's a post, right? So it looks like rudely written in the first draft, but in the second one, it's good and clear. So Yuvraj, what do you think makes the first language rude? Your observation is correct. The first one sounds and looks rude. Second one looks good, clear, and polite, isn't it, Yuvraj? It's clear. First is also very clear that I need jobs. It's very clear, but it's not polite, isn't it, Yuvraj? Yes. Yeah, even department was not mentioned in the first one. So you can look at the second draft and you will see that what makes the second draft say formal. You can see it starts with the clear subject, step one. Also, if you look at the name, employer, we just took as an employer, but from. If you look at the previous version, it talks about some fancy names, which is possible. Like all of you can keep some funny name in your email address, and if you don't mention your name, your email address would come as from. And if it is some rock star or something, then it will come as that name as of your sender ones. So especially when you are sending a formal mail to somebody, make sure that you have your name. Whatever email address you can keep it's your choice, but it should have a name. When you save that whose email address is this, if you don't save your formal name as, let's say, Sahil Seth or let's say Yuvraj Singh, then some funny name that you have kept for your email will come, as was the case with the first one, which said TY Stringer, which is obviously not a name, but some say nickname or a funny name that you have kept. So that will come and which will look bad. So if you look at the second version, the name of a person, Mike Diaz, has come, or whatever the name would come. Second is the subject, applying for the post of say customer service. So that's the post that is mentioned, that is available in this. In the mail, of course, is specified that with reference to your post on Facebook page, I would like to apply for this. So it's not unsolicited. It's solicited that with reference to this place, I got the information, and in that response, I would like to apply for the post of say the customer service, and post in the customer service, and I have attached my detailed resume for your reference. Looking forward to receive your positive response. Regards, Mike Diaz. So you can clearly see the difference, isn't it? Now, let me give you a second, say, version. Tell me if you find this okay. Yes, Lucifer. In any case, Lucifer is not a very good idea. So good that you have changed from Lucifer to your good name. Sahil say it is a good name, in case you don't know. Now, look at the second version of the mail that I have shared. And tell me if you're okay with this version. That is an employee writing to another employee and looking for something, and this is the second draft. Yep, that's a request. Language is formal, I think. Okay. I think in body we cannot use dear or and Mr. together. Who told you this? Dear Mr. Thompson, you can't use this way. That's called salutation. Dear sir, dear ma'am, dear Mr. whatever is called salutation. So some of you are saying that you cannot use dear and Mr. together. That's what I can see. Yuraj is saying that we cannot use dear and Mr. together. Email lack information of all kind. Is it true? He's asking. I don't know what's your question, Yuraj. Are you saying that you can you use dear and Mr. together or not? That's the question, I think, of Yuraj. We'll come back to that. Subject, purpose, which presentation, nothing is mentioned. True, lack of information. So not happy with the second sample also. Let me try 2.1. So this is the basic information, salutation, body. Yes. Tell me if you are happy with the second draft. Okay, so you all seem to be happy with the second draft. So why do you think second draft is better? What are the exact qualities that you like about the second draft? 2.1. Quite informative. Okay. What kind of information? Okay, even the subject helps us to know the purpose. Okay, all the information is available and the subject gives the idea about the semi. Fine, that's true. Okay, anything else that you observed and liked about 2.1, the draft of a mail, that you observed and found that yes, it is a good practice? Not thanks for anticipation, but thank you in anticipation. Anticipation basically means in advance, right? So Janice, anticipation means in advance. So thanking you in advance. You can also say thanking you in anticipation. So anticipation is in advance. I'm saying thank you. I know that you will send it. So in advance, thank you. So that's a formal way of saying thank you in advance, right? So that's a good way of writing, right? Chali. So these were the two drafts that told you how to write and also how not to write. I'll share the last, say, draft, which I'm sure you'll enjoy, because I have seen many of you using this kind of, say, fonts and other things. So kindly have a look at it and tell me if you enjoy the kind of mails that youngsters are writing. I'm an old school, so I don't know, but have a look at this mail, the third version. Okay, so you can't ask the well-being in the subject. Okay, the subject is, what's the subject of this write-up? Okay, any other issue? So apart from subject line, rest of things are cool, isn't it? In this mail, you can't use emojis in the formal mail, you mean to say. Symbol means what? What kind of symbol you disagree? Emojis, of course, one should avoid. Language is bothering. So what part of language bothers you, Sahil? Yeah, those symbols. Yeah. Anything else that you observe in this third mail, which is objectionable according to you? Font is not good. I thought they were very good, Janice. They're fancy, look cool. Are they not cool? Okay, spelling is an error problem. Janice, if you can tell me about the fonts. Do you mean to say fonts are bad? You say you mean fonts are not good, right? So why do you think fonts are not good? They are prepared so well by Steve Jobs. You know that, right? Steve Jobs was the one who prepared these fonts, calligraphy, and then Microsoft used those fonts. But Janice, Steve Jobs will not like your observation that fonts are not good. They're cool, they're good. Then why do you think still they are good? But if you can try and answer. No, Janice, your observation is right, but it's not because fonts are bad. Your observation is right. The word fonts are not good is not appropriate. If you can tell me what makes these fonts inappropriate for the mail. Right? Your observation is right, Janice. Okay, so important things as phone number and the email addresses should be highlighted. Okay, that's true. Yep. So see, yeah, that's the expression used here. All the time at school. Since here we both liked baseball and it's catching up. Okay, so there are some issues if you have observed. Now, if these are the three versions, the images that are shared with you, if this is the kind of language and style in which your, let's say, younger brother or sister is writing, what are the advices would you give to them? What would you say? Do this, don't do that. So how would you advise them? You are a computer engineer, and that's why your say junior brother and sister would be making such mistakes, which you think are not appropriate. There are some issues with these three mails. So if you can tell me do's and don'ts, or if you can share your do's and don'ts with your sister. So what are those do's and don'ts? Let's say first of all, don'ts. What are the things that one should avoid in writing a formal kind of a mail? So don'ts. What are the don'ts? If you can tell me, Kayur. Okay. I'll give you a couple of minutes. What you should not do is what some of you are writing, right? Okay, don't use nicknames, don't use emojis. Subject is in do's, right? So right now let's try and have as many don'ts, what not to do while writing an email. So yes, emojis should not be there, nicknames should not be used. So what should not be done? Don't use informal language. Yes, true. Informal language such as WhatsApp, how's life should not be used, right? Yes. Okay, don't make sentences too long. Wonderful, Yuvraj. That applies to a paragraph writings, also applies to any formal writing, because longer the sentence, it will create confusion. So you're right, Yuvraj. Longer sentences should be avoided. Yes. What else do you think one should not do while writing an email? Okay, I think we have enough of what not to do. Now, if you can share what to do in terms of what are the good practices while writing an email. So Sahil's point we can start with that yes, there should be a specific subject which should explain the purpose of an email. Yeah, it should be short and clear, right, Yuvraj? The subject line should be short and clear. Perfect. Yes, acknowledgement. Very good word, Janice. We should acknowledge what? Janice? Acknowledge means to accept that, yes, I accept this. So what do you mean by acknowledgement? What do you acknowledge when you? Yes, so that is informal language. So OEA, WhatsApp, ellipses, three dots are called ellipses. That is incomplete sentence. So there is a purpose for those incomplete sentences in fiction writing and novels and literature, but not in the formal say mails. So that shouldn't be there. How to know about this post? Oh, how I came to know about this post. Yes, that's true. That's acknowledging that, yes, with the reference to this source that I'm applying for a post. It also applies to when you are inquiring that I want presentation last week. In last week, we made 10 presentations. So which presentation you are asking for? So you can ask that on this date in that meeting, the presentation you prepared, I want that. So that's true. It should be specified. Email and phone number should be highlighted properly. Yes, you can mention that, okay, these are the details. How can you highlight? One is bold, right? What else? How else you can highlight important details like phone number and email? Start with good opening like hello. Further to our discussion, I am sending. Okay, you can write hello. I don't know. Hello, can you use hello in the greeting? I don't know. Like hey, dear, etc. In the opening line, and thank you and regards, etc. in the closing. Yes, that's a good observation, Yuvraj. Underlying it or quoting it. Okay. Were you there in this common error, the webinar that we conducted on the common error, Sahil? Remember the quoting thing, do's and don'ts? Okay. So why can't you quote? It's important. So why can't you quote the phone number into single-letter comma? Yes, we can bold it. We can underline it. Yeah. Okay. Start with a good line like hello and further. That's true. That's true. Because it is not said by someone famous. It's a piece of information. It's not, you are not citing anybody, you are not quoting anybody. So that's why single or double inverted commas will not come. So that's true, right? So most of the points are covered. I'll just share the points that you shared with me in kind of say the etiquette and the email etiquette writing. While you are writing, take good care. None of you noticed this is the capital letters. When you write in capital letters, it's like hammering. Even the subject line, one should avoid the capital letters, all capital letters. Yes, first letter capital, and that's there. But all letter capitals writing is a big no-no. You should not go for all capitals. Uh, this I think you remember from common errors, that you should not go for many punctuations or maybe no punctuations. Both things would create confusions. First one, like say house life and then three dots and four semicolons and exclamatory marks, which are big no-no. It's informal. You should not use them. At the same time, if you don't use punctuation marks at all, what will happen? We did discuss in the common error section, common error webinar, that it will create confusion. So that's there. You should take care. The other parts that is about formal versus informal. You can use abbreviations that are formal and that are accepted by both the parties. Like if I say PFA and you don't know it is please find attachment, then you will be confused and I'll also not get the result which I wanted. Right. So let's say for your reference, FYR, as soon as possible. So these are widely used and widely accepted as formal abbreviations. On the other hand, informal, because lol, because thanks, etc., TC for take care and all, they are informals. So in the formal mails, such things should be avoided. You should not use such abbreviations, right? So quoting things and other we did discuss. Now I'll just share with you some of the reply within the reasonable time. That's more of mannerisms. We are discussing language part. So yes, your observation is right. If somebody mails you, you should reply within a certain time. So that's true. But we are talking about the expressions, do's and don'ts about email writing, right? So I'll just share some of the opening lines that you can say use while as opening up. So you talk with certain reference. So let's say you want to inform somebody officially and formally, then you might say, this is to bring to your notice that we are going to start a new project or something, right? So that to bring to notice, you are notifying them, you are informing them formally, or this to bring to your notice, or this is to inform you, something like that. Or this is with the reference to your advertisement, this is with the reference to the meeting conducted last week, there was some observation and I want something, right? Let's say somebody sent you and you received a quick response by somebody. You might say thank you for your quick response. You asked for some presentation, you asked for some file or some documents online through email, and you received the prompt response. So you obviously start by saying thank you for your quick response. I have received this file, but I'm also looking for X file and something like that. But opening line should remain like this. And we may discuss by saying this, that this to bring to your notice that we made this presentation last week about the sales meeting. Kindly send me the file of that presentation, PPT or something like that. So it's a formal and say very requesting and polite tone. And of course, please have a look at the file. For example, you are sending the file and you want them to say go through it and then discuss. Then you share the file and you say, okay, please go through it and go through the file that I have attached, and then we can discuss and something like that. So these are some of the opening lines that you can use. Then These are a few useful expressions for ending it. Some of them we already used. The others you may find useful. For example, hope this would help, or hope this would serve the purpose. So, for example, somebody asked some file or document from you, and after sending, you would it would look humble and polite if you say, "I hope it will help," or "I hope this would serve the purpose." You know. You may also say this is with the reference to, which is I think used in previous slide also. I'll get back to you as soon as I'm done with the project. For example, your boss or your superior or your maybe colleague also told you that please go through this file and give me your feedback, or please have a look at this PPT or a presentation and give me your feedback. So you'll say, okay, I'll get back to you as soon as I observed, as soon as I finish whatever task is given, and then I'll get back to you, right? So that is a good way of writing. You may also use looking forward to having say your project or email or whatever. So that's a expectation. So it's a polite way of reminding, right? You are saying that, make sure you send it as soon as possible, but better you say looking forward to receive your mail by so and so time or date, the deadline that you might share, right? And of course, thanking somebody in advance when especially you are asking for a favor, right? You are asking for some file or some presentation or some document, and then you are requesting at the end. You will say thanking you in anticipation. You know that it's a formality. His job is to share the data, and he's definitely going to share it, but it will look polite on your part to thank them in advance. So thanking you in anticipation or thanking you in advance, right? So these are the do's and don'ts. Many of the do's and don'ts you shared with me. A few I tried to discuss, but mostly all of you shared do's and don'ts while writing the emails. Now, out of I think 8 students I can see in my chat, how many of you have sent me your say email, or how many of you have sent me your say feedback through email? I have received a few of the feedback mails from this class. Yes, some of you have. Yuraj, Janice, Sahil, right? So you have sent already. Now, can you go back to your email and can you tell me the do's and don'ts that we just discussed? Have you followed in your email? Can you have a look at your mail again? And can you tell me what are the things that you would like to change after this discussion that we just had? Right, I have received mails from many of you, and I appreciate that. But I'll appreciate more if you can share. Online, so let me go through. Right, so I'll leave it to you to go back and see if you have written a mail which is appropriate according to this. Okay, Sahil has a question that says that we are told that a formal mail has to have three, let me see, 3 paragraphs. Well, it's not necessary to have 3 paragraphs, but it should have 3 steps minimum. One is salutation. Step one, after, of course, there are technical requirements and there are draft requirement in the body. So let's look at these 2 steps. Step one is you should have say to, from will come by default, and then you have to write subject, and it should look good, it should be brief, it should be self-explanatory, so that is there. After you do this subject part, rest of the things will come automatically. What you need to take care, of course, before sending mail to anybody in formal situations, that you should have the name say saved along with your email in Gmail or whatever you have account. Otherwise, your name will not come. Some funny email address that you have would appear as the receiver's name. That is your name if you are sending. So keep a name. Before that, keep a signature. If you don't have a signature, have it right now. Go to setting, under the setting menu, and then you will find signature, edit, because that you should do before you send the mail, right? So these two steps, your signature and then your subject line. Once you do these two things, then you come to the main body. In the main body, you have three steps, not three paragraphs, but three steps, minimum three steps, I'm saying. First is called salutation. Dear sir or respected sir. I think somebody, Yuraj or Keyur had asked that can we use dear and Mr. together? Yes, because see, dear is salutation and Mr. Or Miss or Doctor or whatever is designation. They are separate and they can be used together, right? Especially when you're writing to people who are, let's say, professor or doctor, right? Or in the formal situations, you better write say Mr. or Miss, whatever is applicable, right? It's only when you have friendly relation with, say, your colleague who are of the same, say, designation as yours, there you may write their names, dear Jayesh or dear Prakash or whatever, right? But it's advisable that you better write dear sir or dear ma'am if you call them, right? Or you may say dear Mr. Jayesh or dear Mr. Prakash or dear doctor, whatever. Right? Whatever is the designation accordingly, you can and should mention. So that's called salutation. I don't think you have confusion with dear and respected, right? I guess you are aware that as long as it is horizontal formal communication, you can use dear. Dear is as formal as respected. The only say places where you are writing to some, let's say, a collector, a chief minister, prime minister, in those places you better mention respected or honorable sir or madam. Otherwise, you can absolutely write say dear sir or dear ma'am. That's formal, right? So that's step one. Step two is the first opening line. Usually the first opening line would be acknowledgement. I think Keyur or Janice, I don't remember, you use the word acknowledgement. So acknowledgement is giving the reference with which this mail is written, either as a response or as a point of reference. For example, the point of reference is a sales meeting last week. So there was a PPT used in that sales meeting and you want that PPT. So with reference to our meeting, sales meeting held on so-and-so date last week, I'm looking for a PPT of that presentation, right? Or with reference to your advertisement in the newspaper, or with the reference to your post on FB regarding that, say, recruitment, and I'm applying. So that's the opening line, which is actually giving the context of this mail, that why are you writing this mail, right? So that will be the first step. After salutation, the first step in the main body would be this. Then would come the main say thing why you are writing this mail, right? So kindly send me the presentation, right? Kindly have a look at the file I have sent you, right? So that's what you want. What's reference to? What's reference to the project meeting we are going to have next week. I have sent my presentation. Kindly have a look at my presentation and give your feedback, thanking you in anticipation. You see, so you are giving step one, salutation. Step two, the reference with which the mail is written. Step three, why have you written? What's the purpose, right? And then thanking you in anticipation or whatever the ending thing would come. So these say four things should be there. Now, if you need to explain what meeting, what's the purpose, why do you want them to assess, or what are your observations, for example, then the details would be added. But the thumb rule for email writing is shorter the better, right? Emails, if there are more than 10 lines, they are like, should be avoided unless it is really important, or unless it is mutually agreed that yes, it's important and I'll write the detailed mail and it will be read. But otherwise, shorter the better, right? So that's what the thumb rule that you should follow. And of course, you should end by regards. I think Jairaj shared that it should have a formal ending as well. So regards, or with best wishes, or whatever formal greetings you like, sincerely yours, or whatever, followed by this. You can get rid of it so far as email writing is concerned, right? So in email writing, as we discussed, that you can add signature. So then you don't have to write all these regards and all those stuff. It will come automatically. You just need to follow the first 4 steps: salutation, a reference with which you are writing this mail, the reason why you're writing, exactly like what do you want, and then of course thanking say somebody in advance, or requesting somebody in advance, or expecting some response in the given time. So these are the 4 things that you should have. Signature, if you have kept, you don't have to worry about your ending part. It will come automatically, right? So this is what should be there in your email when you are writing. So this is what I think you should do. Okay. Okay, so should have opening, the concept, and the conclusion. Yes, that's right. That's an observation. But what do you mean by opening? The reference. What do you mean by the concept? Why are you writing? What exactly do you want? You want some file. You want them to say observe the file that you have shared. That's the concept with which you have written. And conclusion is you are requesting them that, oh, hope you will go through my file and will get back to me. Right. So that will come in the conclusion part that you have understood. So that's 2. Okay, so these were the things that I shared. Now, most of you, those who are regular, have sent me their essays also and their feedback also, right? What I'll do is I'll take some time, but I'll get back to you with each one of you with the separate feedback in terms of your feedback, in terms of language, right? And of course, your essay and the language. One general observation that I have about the submission of your essay is that it's not an essay. Most of you have sent a paragraph, which is a longer one, but still a paragraph. Essays would be slightly longer. Remember, a paragraph is the collection of sentences, and an essay is the collection of paragraphs. Right? If you have only one paragraph, then it's still a paragraph. Essay would be more detailed. Right? So take your time. Maybe you can take one more day, and let's say by tomorrow, Sunday, it's tomorrow, Sunday, evening, you can send slightly longer an essay, which would have the connected paragraphs, which should have at least a beginning, middle, and end, introduction, main body, and conclusion, right? So if you can edit and send, I'll be in a better position to help, right? So with this, from my side, whatever little I wanted to share, I have. Now, if you have any specific queries, questions, please ask. Feedback, queries, questions, both are perfectly fine. Okay. Okay. Yes, so I could see most of the comments. Now, if you still have some say queries, questions, feedback about say writing webinars that we have, please feel free to ask. Nope. Okay. So thank you for your participation. Officially, these say webinars and the series of webinar comes to an end. But you are always welcome. You do have my email address with me. We'll also try and have the other series of say webinars as and when required, as per the say need of the placement department. We'll definitely do that. But in the meantime, anywhere in terms of language, English language context, be it writing or speaking part, you are always welcome with your individual queries also. You can reach to me through email, or you can WhatsApp me also. I think Sahil has my WhatsApp number. So Sahil, you can share the WhatsApp number with all of them. My mornings are already good, so please don't send me good morning messages. You have questions, queries, you're always welcome on WhatsApp. I'll take some time to respond. So any language related queries, any grammar, translation, email writing questions, queries, you can definitely post an email as well as a WhatsApp, or you can give a call also. If I'll not be busy, I'll definitely respond to it, and we can do something about it. But writing, I would appreciate, because you will put your questions in perfect as a perspective, and then you will be clear in your say question, and I'll try and answer whatever ways I can. Right. So that's all for today. Thank you for your say time, and I'll call it a day. Thank you for your participation.